Today we are going to be speaking about the digital revolution in dentistry, specifically in orthodontics, because that's my field of expertise, if we can call this. My name is Dr. Jean-Marc, and I just went for a visit to a new company that gave me some ideas of what would be the future of dentistry in the next 10 to 15 years, and it's going to be different than what we have today. If we want to go back fairly quickly to digital revolution or evolution, but there was kind of a revolution. The first one was in the 1990s. We went from 2D imaging all the way to 3D, and then if you sequentialize, you can almost go for 4D with technologies that allows to superimpose cone beams. So that was a big difference. It took a while. There is still some controversy about using cone beams on a lot of patients, rightly so. I think they all should be reserved for more complicated treatment plans, but it's undeniable that giving a 3D image of a craniofacial structure is much better than trying to figure it out with 2D imaging. The second one, which has been, I think, 2011, when Invisalign introduced the famous iTero machine, remember? And shortly after we had 3Shape, was basically intraoral scanners. And we went from a very interesting aspect of dentistry, which was based on dental models. Remember, when we were in dental school, we had to pour our models, trim them to specific parameters from the American Board of Orthodontics, or in prosthodontics, you had to mount the models on articulators. It was very time-consuming and fairly inaccurate, I must admit. And then we went to STL files, which are a 3D image or representation using points, a cloud of points, and it became a full digital workflow, because then you have the cone beam and you have intraoral scanners. There was still one unit of data, the cone beam being one bunch of slices, same with intraoral scanners, so you were still into a one unit file. The problem that we had for a lot of practitioners is probably we had little data, and we basically rely on a lot of experience and dental cast and cephalometric radiographs to probably too much data to be absorbed quickly, because the 3D data set is immensely larger than a 2D data set. And our dental cast didn't give you much data except small measurements in 2D again. What happened is we didn't use the technology as best as we could until we were able to process the information, which means computers. So we needed a lot of computer power to help us decipher all this new data that was at our disposal. And then about 5-6 years ago, AI showed up, and then it became again, what are we going to do with this? So we went from analog to digital. So finally, we were getting comfortable working with 3D imagery. And then all of a sudden, AI shows up, and it very much disturbs the profession. So let's see what AI can do for us. Is it that bad or not? And that's not the discussion for today. But I'm just going to be very quick on this. Is AI will replace clinicians? No, if you are into the AI world or the deep learning or whatever you want to call that, AI can be anything it can be, but in dentistry, the A in AI, in my opinion, is more there to assist and also to augment. So those two A's are there for basically serving the clinician, not replacing it. So this is not a good word. It should be assisting the clinician. And why? Because it will give you better treatments. You may treat your patient faster. There'll be less time spent in the office for the patients, and it will change the way we practice dentistry in the next 20 years. The main application was a diagnosis. Can we get these AI algorithms to diagnose on malocclusions or whatever it is? And at the moment, it's still there. There's not much in diagnostics. Yes, there are some image recognition, but I still believe that at the end of the day, the clinicians are the most important people. 6-7 years ago, all of a sudden, we could segment cone beams, we could segment STLs, And best example is Invisalign and all the technology of aligners. So the segmentation was fantastic. Then we fused the 3D cranial structures files, which is the cone beam and the STL, into one setup. And then you had the STL, which is the relationship between the teeth, the dental-alveolar processes, the cone beam, all of a sudden was available into one unit. And even better, then you can simulate. You can simulate TMJ movements. You can simulate tooth movement. The next one was, I've seen that now slowly. Now you can create digital appliances without having to fabricate them complicated. So you do a digital application and then you print it. The best example are from the metal printing appliances from Dr. Wilms that he does distalizers. We have maxillary expansion printed in 3D with metal. So all these now are digitally created and printed automatically without less work from technicians.